You know that feeling when you're staring at a giant list of numbers and your brain just shuts down? It feels like total chaos, right? Well, what if I told you that with just a couple of simple tools, you can turn all that mess into some really clear insights? That's what we're doing today. Let's jump in.
All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to build your first ever data analysis toolkit piece by piece. First, we'll look at why raw data is so tough to handle. Then, we'll dive into 3 awesome tools: the frequency table, cumulative frequencies, and something called an Ogive chart. And by the end, you'll have a complete toolkit ready to go.
Okay, so just look at this. Imagine these are test scores for a class. It's just a big old jumble of numbers. I mean, can you tell me, like right now, how many students passed or what the most common score was? No way! It's pretty much impossible to spot any kind of pattern here. And that, right there, is the classic problem with raw data.
So, that's the big question, isn't it? How do we wrestle this mess of numbers into something that's actually organized? Something meaningful that we can understand in a split second? Well, the answer starts with our very first tool. All right, tool number 1. This is the foundation for like everything else we're gonna do. It's called the frequency table, and it has one simple but super powerful job. It organizes the chaos.
So a frequency table, or a frequency distribution, you'll hear both, it does exactly what it sounds like. You group your data into logical buckets, like A's, B's, C's, and then you just count how many times each one shows up. That's it. You're just counting the frequency.
And voila! Look at the difference. Instead of that chaotic list of numbers, we have this nice, clean table. Instantly, you can see useful stuff, right? Like C was the most common grade. Just like that, the chaos is gone. All we have now is simple, structured order. So much better.
Okay, so we've got our data organized. That's a huge first step. But now we can level up and start answering even more interesting questions. That brings us to tool number 2, cumulative frequencies. Think of this one as the accumulator.
Think about it. With our first table, if I asked how many students got a C or better, you'd have to stop and manually add up the A's, the B's, and the C's, right? Well, cumulative frequencies do that heavy lifting for you. It builds that running total right into the table, saving you a bunch of work and giving you those deeper insights at a glance. Now, there are basically 2 flavors of this. First, you have cumulative absolute frequency. That's just a simple running total of the actual counts. Then there's cumulative relative frequency, which is the same idea, but for the percentages. So one tells you the raw number, and the other tells you the slice of the pie. And check it out. We just add these as new columns to the table we already made. It's super easy. So to get the cumulative number for grade B, you take the 5 students who got an A, plus the 12 who got a B, which gives you a running total of 17. See? Then you can do the same thing with the percentages. It's just a simple add-as-you-go process.
Okay, we've organized our data and we've accumulated it. Now for the really cool part. It's time to visualize it. Our third and final tool is the Ogive chart. And what it does is take all that cumulative data and turn it into a really powerful, super easy to read picture.
So an ogive is just a special type of line graph. And because it's plotting a running total, the line can only ever go up or maybe stay flat for a bit. It never goes down. And its main purpose, its whole reason for being, is to show you, in a single glance, how many of your data points fall below a certain value.
And reading one is incredibly simple. It's a quick 3-step move. Let's say you want to know what percentage of students scored a 75 or lower. You just find 75 on the bottom, go straight up until you hit the line, and then hang a left and go straight across to the side axis. Whatever number is there, boom, that's your answer. It's a total visual shortcut. And really, that's the magic of the Ogive chart. It takes all those numbers from our table and transforms them into an intuitive, visual story. A single glance can tell you something that would have taken you a bunch of annoying little calculations to figure out just a few minutes ago. So there you have it. In just a few minutes, we've gone from that chaotic jumble of numbers to a really smart set of tools. You are now officially equipped to start making sense of raw data. Pretty cool, right? So let's do a quick recap of your new toolkit.
First, you've got the frequency table. That's your organizer. It creates order out of chaos. Then you've got cumulative frequencies to see those running totals and how everything adds up. And finally, the Ogive chart, your visualizer, to see the whole story in a single picture.
You know, every single data set has a story to tell, but you need the right tools to actually read it. And now, you have them. So the next time you're faced with a big mess of numbers, you're not going to see chaos anymore. You're going to see an opportunity, a puzzle waiting to be solved. So the only real question is, what amazing patterns are you going to uncover?